So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Oh, yeah. Come on, sing along, Ross.
Ross didn't sing. Ross.
I'm sorry, I had a mouthful of hamburger.
That's very cheesy of you.
And for our vegans out there, he means a soy burger.
Oh, yes, sorry. A sorry burger.
A sorry burger.
Sorry, it's not a burger.
Sorry, it's not a burger.
Yeah, that's it there. Yeah, okay, I got to turn you guys down just a little bit. Ooh, got to turn myself down a little bit, too.
We need to eat meat.
And this is the 420 radio show. Welcome, Ross, you meat eater, you.
Oh, thank you. I'm carnivoristic right now.
So it was told to me not too long ago, before we were chatting about starting the show, that we're always walking over Chris and his news. So Chris is here to do his news live. We're going to make him do it right fucking now. Hold on a minute. I'm going to get you your news intros going here, Chris.
Wait, did he get out of the bathroom?
Lay it on me.
All right. You ready, Chris?
Hit me.
We will be right back after a word from this person.
Well, that was your intro. Come on, dude.
No, wait. I'm already
into the 420, damn it.
420 radio show, and this is your 420 seconds of news with Chris Backer. A BC woman who asserted her legal right to go topless said she was told to cover up by a police officer and then wrongly told by two other officials that she had broken the law. Susan Rowbottom said she was tanning topless with friends last week on a beach in Kelowna, BC, when a male RCMP officer approached her and told her to put her top on. She said she complied, but then asked why. Is there a reason, a law, or anything? The officer informed the woman that it was against city ordinance, Rowbottom said. When she called the police station, the female officer told her the same, and when she called the bylaw officials, the person who answered the phone also agreed that going topless was illegal. Finally, she got a call from the city clerk who said correctly and informed her that it is perfectly legal. Going topless has been legal in BC-wide ever since 2000, when a woman named Linda Meyer beat charges related to Maple Ridge, BC bylaw that outlawed exposed female nipples. Kelowna RCMP Colonel Duncan said police may suggest to the person to put their top on, but that it's up to them to make the ultimate decision. Rowbottom shared her story after three Ontario sisters told CTV Kitchener that a male police officer ordered them to cover up as they biked around shirtless on Saturday. After one of them started filming the officers with cell phones, he asked whether they had lights on their bikes. They did. Women have had the legal right to expose their breasts in Ontario since 1996. Guelph, Ontario student Gwen Jacobs was arrested for walking home from class while topless in 1991. Jacobs was charged with committing an indecent act, but fought the charge and won 5 years later. Women in Waterloo, Ontario have planned a pro-topless demonstration tomorrow, Saturday, in support of the three sisters and to remind the public of that fact. That's just the officers overstepping their bounds. The city continues to ramp up its legal fight against illegal cannabis dispensaries and plans to seek court injunctions against additional 38 pot shops, operators, and their landlords in British Columbia. A week ago, the city announced it filed the necessary paperwork in BC Supreme Court to seek injunctions against 17 pot shop operators who continue to operate in defiance of the city's new business license regulations. We're serious, Andrea Toma, the city's chief licensing inspector, told Courier Monday. But the seriousness will have to be tested in the courts and could take some time before the hearing dates are scheduled. An injunction will give the city a court order to force operators shut down a dispensary. If an operator dismisses the order, the city could then go back to court and seek to have the operator hit with heavy fines or even jailed. Though the city has been issuing tickets to operators, the court action includes the city going after landlords. For example, the court documents filed by the city against BC Pain Society included operator Chuck Verboff and his numbered company and landlords. It's their responsibility to ensure that who they have their commercial space is required to have a business license, Thomas said. Verboff said he wasn't aware of his landlords were named in the documents. He called it a scare tactic and said the landlords support him 1,000,000%. Late last year, the city informed Verboff and dozens of other dispensary owners to close their doors by April 29th. The deadline came after the society lost a Board of Variance appeal to remain open. Verboff has since requested a judicial review of the board's decision. Meanwhile, he continues to operate his pot shop, and the city has issued him 9 $250 tickets for operating without a business license. I figure that once they file the injunction, that's it, and we'd wait for the courts to decide, he said. But no, they came in every single day last week and ticketed me. Verboff says he refuses to pay the tickets and will dispute them in court. It's an unfortunate process, he adds, that wastes the time and the taxpayers. If I pay those tickets, I'm admitting I'm guilty of something, he said. I'm guilty of absolutely nothing at all, and I want to have my day in court, so to speak, and I want a fair Board of Variance hearing. That's what I'm fighting for. If Verboff ultimately loses his appeals and is forced to shut down, he will likely be operating another pot shop at 2849 East Broadway. The city has issued him a development permit, and he is close to getting his business license there. People may say, oh, he's just being greedy, but the main store is my main store, and it runs all the operations, and I need it in place in order to operate anything. The city's move to offer licenses to pot shops became after the city council voted last June to introduce rules for annual license fees, criminal record checks, and zoning regulations that prohibited dispensary from operating within 300 meters of schools, community centers, neighborhood houses, and each other. The city has always maintained the purpose is to regulate the business, not the cannabis. The federal government has promised to introduce legislation next spring that would legalize cannabis, but details of how the law would relate to cannabis dispensaries is unclear. A lot of businesses within the industry are expecting the federal government to change our current bylaws. Thomas said, I don't see that happening. I don't think it's going to be a reality. I think they're going to be complementary. As of Tuesday, the city issued 313 $250 tickets to pot shops. So far, 47 tickets have been paid, and a total of 51 dispensaries, including Verboff's, continue to operate in defiance of the city's new regulations. An additional 30 shops remain open but are not subject to enforcement because they are working with the city to acquire a business license. A total of 34 dispensaries have complied with the city's new regulations and have either closed or no longer selling cannabis since April 29th. So far, the city has issued one business license to a dispensary, the Wealth Shop at Suite 104, 4545 West 10th Avenue at Point Grey, began operating last month. So one of them. Unbelievable. A licensed medical cannabis user is outraged after he was told he could not smoke his medicine on a BC ferry. He said he was confronted while smoking pot on the 520 sailing from Horseshoe Bay to Nanaimo. He claims he displayed his medical cannabis license and he was standing outside in a designated smoking area and should have been allowed to light up. BC Ferry released a statement today. It says, regardless of whether a person can produce a Health Canada card, BC Ferries does not allow the use of cannabis on board vessels or anywhere on our property. Same as the consumption of alcohol.
I saw that. I actually listened to the...
How is it the same as the consumption of alcohol?
You know, I watched the clip, Chris, of that. And they are the security guy came right up to him. He was standing in the fucking smoking area on the ferry. Yeah. And they were saying that, and he said that he cannot do that there. And he's like, even in the smoking area, they're having cigarettes. I can't smoke my medicine. I have a license. They have a zero cannabis policy on the ferry.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's harms associated with tobacco smoke, and there are zero harms associated with cannabis smoke.
Yeah, so I wish I had pulled that up before. I didn't realize you included that in your news.
No worries. The parents of a girl with severe epilepsy want to try to treat their daughter with medicinal cannabis, but because she's living in a provincial care home, Nova Scotia's Department of Community Services won't allow it. Morgan Oulton was born with multiple brain abnormalities and suffers from various forms of epilepsy. The 12-year-old has been diagnosed with a variety of behavior disorders, cognitive impairment, as well as autism. Since she was 3 years old, Morgan has been in a series of medications to control her conditions. The drugs have had various rates of success, but also many side effects. We want Morgan to have the opportunity to try medicinal cannabis because we've just watched her deteriorate on all those other medications, her father, Brent Oulton, said. Chantal Oulton describes the many drug treatments as a vicious cycle. She says anti-seizure drugs can cause behavioral problems, and the drugs used to control behavior can contribute to seizures. So at the age of 11, she decided to wean her daughter off all of them. At first it went well. Surprisingly, Morgan was seizure-free for 3 months. According to Chantal, Morgan's personality also began to shine through. She started eating great, sleeping great. Cognitively, she bloomed. She said she wasn't the little zombie we always had. At the same time, Morgan's energy levels increased and she became too hard for her parents to handle. One time, Chantal says Morgan ran away and ended up on the nearby highway. So now we have a very healthy, manipulative, conniving little girl. As great as it was, you suddenly couldn't cope with the full speed. The Oultons realized they could no longer provide the care Morgan needed. In Nova Scotia, for a child to be cared for in a provincial care home, the parents must sign over custody of their child to the province, which the Oultons did. It was definitely the hardest decision we've ever made. It was completely heart-wrenching that you can't take care of your child anymore, Chantal said. For the past 9 months, Morgan has been living at the Yarmouth Association for Community Residential Options. Her parents say she is well cared for there, with 2 caregivers watching her 24/7. But shortly after she arrived in the Yarmouth facility, Morgan suffered 2 seizures, which caused her to collapse on the floor. The doctors put her on anti-seizure medicine, which the Oultons say might not be a good fit for their daughter. Since taking the drug, Morgan has had 10 grand mal seizures over 9 months, and she's had up to 20 small seizures in a day. Morgan is now being weaned off the drug, and after it's complete, the Oultons hope Community Services will allow their daughter to try cannabis oil. After lobbying doctors for several years, Morgan's parents convinced their doctor's pediatric neurologist to allow Morgan to try cannabis oil. Despite having a prescription from the Halifax's Cannabinoid Medical, so far Morgan is unable to start treatment because she is in the care of the province. At this point, experts in the field have advised against the use of medical cannabis for people under the age of 18, a spokesperson for the Nova Scotia Department of Community Services told CBC News in an email. Chantal Oulton says an email she received from one of Morgan's social workers told her the department was currently unable to support the plan and told them they are free to pursue the option of ending the current voluntary care agreement and can have Morgan return home. We find it ludicrous that they expect us to terminate the contract for care to bring her home to try it, because if we do that and it doesn't work, we have no care options for our child, Oulton said. Brent and Chantal have launched an online petition which they plan to send to the Prime Minister's office as well as the Nova Scotia Minister of Community Services. And that can be found on change.org. And I suggest people get a chance to check it out. And that was the news. This has been Chris. Peace, love, and hippie shit. And back to the rest of the guys.
Hello, guys.
And you, because we're going to keep you here.
We're going to keep you here. You're staying.
Okay.
I
good. Sounds good.
I just received a shit from Lori.
A shit?
Yeah. A text.
How did she send you a shit?
I would have sent this to her. Like, I'm gonna. There, I sent some shit to Lori.
Is it a pile or
a pile of it? Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Not a problem.
Why'd you send her shit?
Oh, because it's
She
after
asked for
7 and she's out. That's why. Anyways, so what was I doing? What were we doing? We were listening to Chris's news, and I'm going to put that over there so because I'm like OCD and I got to look at it every time I hear it go. Vroom, vroom. There's another one. I'm not looking. Don't look, Al. Don't look.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Should we call somebody?
No, we're going to listen to a song by a band that I just submitted, said, hey, how can I get on the show? So I'm putting them on the show because I like this song. It's Roadman dangerous road. This is the 420 Radio Show. We're live on Lifestyle Radio. Come on back and hang out with us. We got a guest in the second half of our show we didn't mention. It's Jackie, what's her last name?
Woerlee?
Woerlee.
Woerlee?
From Amsterdam. and she is a cannabis advocate, and she's got something to tell us. So we're going to listen to her as well later on in the show. And we'll be right back. Which button am I pushing? Man, I shouldn't have smoked that.
We froze.
This is Bubbles from the trailer park, and they're playing some fucking excellent music on lifestyleradio.ca. I hope I didn't sound too nervous there.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Is a dangerous road that we travel. Is a dangerous road.
vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
You have reached
blah, blah, blah. And giving her a hard time because she's not here, so she's going to hear this.
Hang up now, because if not, she's going to be taking 20 minutes to listen to the message. Goodbye, Lori. Dead air. Al broke it again.
No, I didn't. I'm right here.
Al's broken?
No, I am not. I'm right here.
Okay.
Al gave Al the wrong cord. Let's see if she'll answer this time. One ringy dingy. Well, she's not answering.
And she told you to phone her.
Well, shit.
She lied.
Well, I'm trying. Anyways, so we were going to talk while we're looking for Lori. The guys are going to have a conversation about Bill 187?
178.
Oh, see, that's dyslexia and an accent right there.
And Bill 178 is what again? I can't remember.
That's the Smoke-Free Ontario Act.
Nice play, Chris.
That doesn't mean you get free smokes.
No? Good.
That was funny. That was funny, Ross.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys.
Well, at first I thought that's what it meant, but then I read about it.
It was way more depressing.
It was way more.
All right, go ahead and talk, guys. I'll stop laughing now.
Yeah, it's really, it's not really laughable, the Bill 178. We have neighbors in Kingston called 420 Kingston. What a, coincidence name. They have a vapor lounge upstairs, and they just announced that as of tomorrow, their vapor lounge is closing.
Yeah, Queens of Cannabis
which is pretty
as well.
sad.
Queens of Cannabis announced it as well the other day. I think that's who it was.
Higher Living Wellness, and for them, and that's down here.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even from the authorities. That's from a couple people from the community that lobbied hard to make sure that she wasn't going to get to open. She posted today that she can't do it. So,
but reading through it, they basically said that whether it's vaporized cannabis or smoked cannabis, or it's all the same as tobacco smoke, and there's no difference between the two, and that secondhand cannabis smoke is just as harmful as secondhand tobacco smoke. Could that be any less factual? I mean, could this be based on any larger amount of bullshit than that, or what?
No, there's no scientific proof of any harm associated with secondhand, cannabis smoke, especially secondhand cannabis smoke. So any fear that they're lobbying against is just a perceived harm. Do you know what I mean? It's what they think is wrong with it, but it's not real. Okay, and that's what they're lobbying with. It's just rhetoric and speculation.
Yeah, it's all lies, and it's all prohibition lies.
Yep.
And that's all it is.
Not one scientific bit of proof. Okay, it's not one scientific that shows a harm. Okay. Cannabis smoke improves lung function, not impedes it. How you can't compare it to tobacco. That's like in the news article where they compared it to liquor. It's not the same as booze at all. You can't overdose on cannabis. You can overdose on booze.
Right. So now back to the Ontario Act, because you've obviously read it all, Ross.
Yep.
Is there designated smoking areas?
There are. Anywhere where you're allowed to smoke a cigarette, you're allowed to smoke cannabis.
Now, they also, I saw an article on the news. Sorry, guys. I saw an article on the news where there, some place, I can't remember, it was in Ontario or in BC, a government building put up signs prematurely for vaping areas.
Yeah, vaping area.
Yeah.
And that's that may be telling as far as what they're going to do. They may have designated areas where you can smoke, but yeah, I don't know. I don't get that vaping sign, because it's, you think as they're treating it the same as tobacco, it would just be a smoking area.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a vaping area. So I'm not sure what that meant exactly, but I do know that this bill that's now been passed treats it the same as tobacco. So, and that also bans it from the grounds of any hospital, which means
any
you
government
have to leave
building, including
any government building,
housing.
any
So
hospital.
here's the solution for the hospital one. You go to the pharmacist at the hospital and you let them know that you have a prescription for them, and they can authorize you to smoke cannabis on hospital grounds.
You know what? There's only one exception in the bill, and that is for research purposes. So the only opportunity for a hospital to do that would be to apply for a research permit that would allow you to use cannabis in the hospital.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly at our hospital.
Well, that's what's in the bill. So that's the only exception, is for research purposes. So I suppose they could apply for that exception, and then I guess they'd have to do some kind of research based on, applying for that exception, which would probably be good, because it would end up proving that there is no correlation or a relationship between tobacco smoke and cannabis smoke, and that or vapor for that matter, and they're two different things.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be good if they do that research. Maybe that's what we need.
And prove it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's been proven with like 20 and 30-year studies, the
Yeah.
difference between tobacco smoke and cannabis smoke.
Yep.
And the difference is, if you use tobacco smoke, or if you just smoke tobacco, you get cancer. If you smoke tobacco and cannabis together, you don't get cancer. And if you smoke just cannabis alone, you don't get cancer.
Right. Are you referring to the I believe it was a 30-year study that they did in California?
Yeah.
Where they did a double study where neither were neither were tobacco smokers, neither group.
Yeah.
But the one group did not smoke any cannabis. The other group did smoke cannabis, and the group that did smoke cannabis had a lower rate of lung cancer and other cancers than the group that did not smoke cannabis.
Yeah.
Which, a 30-year study is pretty impressive, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, they've had, and this is the problem we have in Canada, because we have this wonderful government body called Health Canada who claims there's no studies on the safety of cannabis.
Still says it on their website that they do not blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it is not an officially approved medicine, but
because they claim there's no studies, and it's a lie. There's studies. Health Canada's got their name on a study.
Hi, my name's Al Rapp, and I'm a study. There's Marcel Genac, and he's a study. Hey, there's Ross Middleton, and he's a study. Chris,
right?
Chris has got burns on his body, and he's still alive, and he's still kicking, and he's doing all that shit.
You're goddamn right.
And here I am.
Ta-da!
Yay!
I'm a study, and here's one for you. Mark Ware, the head of CCIC, was my pain specialist that told me about cannabis, and I can't tell you how many times I've sent him email going, hey, study me. Like, you've given cannabis to how many people that are successful? Why would you not at least follow up on them and take the information from them to put into a study?
Welcome to the 420 Study Show.
Right, but all this is proven is that the only studies that Health Canada are interested in are studies that show detrimental effects or prove detrimental effects of using cannabis. Those are the studies that don't exist. But those are the only ones they would ever accept.
Do you think part of this is that Health Canada is just leaving the language the way it was under the Harper government and his direction, and that's because it's been worded that way since the MMPR came in and Health Canada changed its website. That was exactly what they posted, and they've just kind of left it there. And I'm wondering maybe if that's going to change as of August 24th, and they'll maybe reword that.
I think they kind of have no choice come August 24th.
I agree.
All the
Because
staff.
August 25th, I mean, I have a lot of patients lined up waiting to grow some plants.
Yep. I have a lot of people too.
And they're going to be growing on August 25th.
All the people that staff these different groups and organizations, I mean, they were all staffed by the conservative government. I mean, they don't even work with the Liberals' policy. They run counter to it. So they're never gonna. We're battling it, and it's old policy.
Yep, it is, and part of the remedy proposed by the Allard ruling was that they improve access, right? So,
right.
How can they restrict things and say it's not medicine or do anything that takes away something that was in the old MMAR program? I mean, isn't that ripe for another challenge? I mean, are we going to go back there again?
Well, this will be going back to court. That's a given.
Like, how many times has it been found to be unconstitutional? It's something like 9 times or something?
But there's a reason why this will go back to court this time. Because they only had 6 months to come out with a medical program that was charter compliant. So they come out with that. All they've got to do is beat that August 24th deadline. They can come out with whatever they want and basically be somewhat similar to what you would call charter compliant, knowing full well that it's going to go back to court. But it's not going to be heard in court until well after April of 2017.
That sounds like the kind of game playing, though, that the Liberals committed to not doing, where they said they basically respect the judgments of the courts.
Well, that's all fine and good for them to say that, but no politician ever tells the truth to begin with.
Yeah.
All right. And if they can work this into their favor, that they don't have to give us a full-fledged charter compliant program and think that legalization under their new legalization regime will suffice, it gives them another year or two to continue profiteering until we can get our day in court again.
Oh, man, but that
will still be protected under the Allard injunction.
Yeah, well, will we? I mean, because as of August 24th, you say people are going to start growing on August 25th, but actually what's going to happen on August 25th is people are going to be allowed to start applying to grow. Right?
But if there's no place to apply to,
well, that's would be part of the remedy, I would hope, and part of the new regulations would be that there would be a new process.
I haven't seen any new job openings to fill in that call center yet.
They're going. Oh shit! Do you think that they're going to stall this out and drag it out another year or so, and use an excuse to be we have to put all this shit in place, or by the courts telling them what to do? Does that have to be that's it, cut and dry?
Well,
can they still drag it out?
Watching the call center crap.
Yeah,
I don't like to call it crap, but because knowing full well for them to implement this program, they've got to hire a call center staff.
That's true.
Because they got rid of them. That contract was gone when they shut down the MMAR. And they have to re-implement something like that with a call center staff, and they don't. And I haven't found one yet.
They do have the what is it? The National Cannabis Bureau or something like that.
It's the Office of Medicinal Cannabis, the OMC.
Okay.
Right, but that's not equipped to start taking.
But that's the office that would have to do that, right?
A day that they're about to get, because they're going to get flooded on the 25th.
Oh, okay.
They are, yeah, but they have to announce some sort of application process, because as of August 24th, if they don't have a program in place, it is de facto legal.
Right, but it's going to run into the same problem that we had with the MMAR, where they're not going to have enough staff. There's going to be backlog for months. Patients are still going to be in that whole bullshit that we went through, again, not being charter compliant.
Well, this is very complicated because at that point, if you are covered by the injunction and the new regulations come out and you can't get your application processed, do you continue to be covered by the injunction, or do you operate outside of the regulations? And are you safe to do that? I mean,
Good questions, aren't they?
Yeah, they
And
are, aren't they?
So this is what we've got to do, is wait and see. The only real solution at this point is to basically make it so that if your doctor signs a paper, you have a copy of that signed paper, you're allowed to grow, and that's it. And basically, that's how it should be.
And it should be. And you shouldn't even, in my opinion, really need to have a prescription. All you need to have is a diagnosis.
Card. Just a card, a diagnosis, and give me a fucking
confirmation of
card.
diagnosis.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or a prescription.
Yeah. Like they used to do. A fucking, here you go, you can use this from your doctor, and then a card. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You know, and hold on one second.
The chat room, Al, and she says that the call center
I saw that.
for us is going to be in Pakistan along with Microsoft's center.
I was talking, what were we talking about? Remind me, because it was important. Shit. We were talking about, come on, guys. Help me out.
What?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
We're talking about Health Canada on August 24th and hoping they do the right thing.
Yeah, I hope they do the right thing.
The right thing is if they would accept, if they just said, all right, if you've got a medical need, then you can grow. They can set out the MMAR limitations on how many plants, all they want.
Yep.
And then people can decide whether they want to grow indoors or outdoors.
Right.
And bottom line, they're paying for it themselves. So if they're smart, they'll learn how to friggin' grow outdoors.
Ed in the chat room says Health Canada may have not done scientific studies on secondhand marijuana smoke. However, these studies are done.
Oh, have been done. Oh yeah, there's lots of them.
Yeah.
There's thousands and thousands of cannabis studies that are done.
Well,
it's just that none of them prove detrimental effects, so Health Canada doesn't recognize any.
They also said that they weren't Canadian studies.
But the Mark Ware study is.
They just did a study through CAMH on the effects of driving while under the influence of cannabis. They just did it. They had posters on the fucking subway. I saw them.
I had a doctor tell me that.
But I haven't heard anything out of it.
Never been a study done in Canada on, with cannabis, and I had a copy printed off of Mark Ware's study and laid it on the desk, and said, "Where's this come from?"
What was his reply?
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, double.
I'll have to look into that.
Ask him if he wants to dance.
It's 6 years old.
I know. I've been passing it around for that long, telling people that these studies exist, even though Health Canada lies and says they don't. They do.
Well, it's been 10 years since they started that, because
Do you know why
I have an application form for that study.
But do you know why they don't like that study? Is the study was done on smoked cannabis for relieving neuropathic pain. And it proved not only that it worked by relieving neuropathic pain, but more was better.
Yeah, and it was done with Prairie Plant System product, too.
Yeah, with crap. So imagine how much pain you could relieve with real cannabis, not something that was grown in a mine shaft and then all ground up with its stalks.
So
I can answer that question. You can relieve a lot of pain because
yes, you can.
That's my life. My life is pain, and I'll tell you something that has been really working for me really well. And this could maybe put all these people at ease. I'm using a topical cream that was developed by some ladies that I know, and it's cannabis infused, and I put this cream on my neuropathy, and I get more relief from this cream than I have had from any of the 24 pharmaceutical products that I've been prescribed over the last 13 years. And I don't get high from the cream.
Right, and what people don't understand is that topical is an extremely good way to administer medication. This is why fentanyl patches work so well. A cannabis patch will do the same thing.
Yes.
I had a disc removed in 1999, I think it was.
Wow, you're old, man.
when one side of my spine, it's at L4-5, so it's sort of like, the transition to your sacrum there.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I get a sore lump on the one side of my spine, and I rub that balm on that I make, and honestly, the swelling goes down, the pain goes away.
Yeah.
I can walk properly. It's amazing how fast it works.
Not only is it an analgesic, it's also an anti-inflammatory.
I've been using both yours and Marcel's, and on my hands and my forehead. Marcel, I use yours on my forehead. The Cannabis.
Growing your hair back, huh?
And it feels like it. I don't know, man. We'll see.
I'm gonna. Hey, that's a good thought. I'm gonna start putting this on the top of my head.
Start rubbing it on your head, man. That's what I do. I rub it on because I've got eczema. What does it call it?
Eczema.
Psoriasis on my forehead. Right. It's not that bad, but when I get out of the shower, it gets all flaky and stuff, and it hurts. And so I started rubbing his stuff on my forehead, and I had to distinguish that rubbing. Anyways.
Yeah.
And it's a lot better. It doesn't happen all the time. It used to happen all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
And seriously, I think it is growing my hair back.
One of the other things that it did for me.
I hope not, because somebody's using it on their face at night. Grow hair there.
It improves blood flow. So
maybe that's what it is, because that's one of the causes of baldness is blood flow. So it does increase your blood flow. So maybe it stimulates growth. Well, give me another few months. You'll have to send me some more, Marcel. Give me another few months.
Did you have some of mine to try too, Al?
I do.
He's using both.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was halfway into Marcel's when you sent me yours, and then when Marcel's is done, then I move on to yours. But I've been using the coconut coca or one.
Cocoa.
The cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Or
cocoa butter.
The one that it's edible. Butter. I put it in my tea as well as rub it on my forehead.
Wow.
But the other one I haven't tried, the eucalyptus.
Yeah, that's the one I said. Yeah. There's a lady I've heard recently that has started calling the glycerin infusion, the glycerin suspension, she's calling it magic drops.
Cool.
She has muscular dystrophy.
I've been making vegetable glycerin tinctures and loving it. I mean, like really, really loving it, and actually, it's cut my cannabis intake. And after the show, I'm going to make some cookies. I love my magic butter machine. Trying to get what's his name? Garland, the owner, Marcel. The owner of Magic Butter. I'm looking. I can't remember his name. Anyways, I'm trying to get him on as a guest.
Garen, isn't it?
Garen, yeah. As a guest, and he's a busy guy. So we're going to try and get him on, actually, because, I'm really enjoying this thing, and I'd like to find out what those flashing, blinking lights really are for, because they're really cool. They make my kitchen light up and shit, But they're supposed to be going in a pattern, right? So...
Oh, that's the other thing, too. I currently have nasal spray under test.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For what ailment would that be?
The fellow has brain cancer.
Hey, we got a question from the chat room. Sorry, go ahead, Lori, and then remind me.
Sure. I was going to say, yes, the fellow, the one person has brain cancer, one person has a back neuropathy, and somebody else has, I think it's MS, maybe. But because, and one of these people actually also has a sinus condition. So I'm having them all tested to see the efficacy of the delivery through the nasal spray as opposed to eating it.
Huh. Interesting.
Because it's, you see, nasal sprays very often contain vegetable glycerin to keep your nose from drying out.
Yes.
So all it is a filtered, previously boiled water mixture with an infused glycerin suspension mixed.
Yes.
About half and half.
Yeah.
And see how that works. Apparently, the person with a bad foot found relief fairly quickly, more so than putting it under the tongue.
Well,
So,
I know
cool.
that.
Are you infusing it with tincture? Is that what you're using it to?
A glycerin suspension, like a 100% vegetable glycerin.
That's what I'm using, yeah.
Cannabis suspension.
Yep, that's what I'm using.
But is it like a cannabis oil, or is it like a?
No, glycerin. Just straight.
So you're
like
actually extracting it with the glycerin.
You put the glycerin and the cannabis into the magic butter machine. You press the button. You heat it up for the time allotted. You strain it out, and you got yourself a cannabis tincture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the way I understand, Marcel will jump in here, I'm sure. If you add a 90-10 glycol to it, you can smoke it in your vapor pen.
I actually smoked the straight vegetable glycerin in my vapor pen.
If you really, and it works good.
Yeah.
Cool.
You don't get as much vapor. You have to turn it up higher to get as much vapor, and then that kind of
mix it with propylene glycol, you'll get more vapor.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so yeah,
I've got
that's what
some
I'm
of that
saying,
on the way. I just haven't.
Yeah.
I've been resisting the propylene glycol because the stuff I make, you can drop it into your tongue.
Propylene glycol is also a bit of a solvent too. It'll actually also dissolve the cannabinoids as well.
But you can't ingest it. You can't ingest that though, right?
My stuff, you can put it under your tongue, you can put it in your tea, you can put it in your coffee, you can rub it on your skin, or you can put it in your pen. Whereas with the propylene glycol, I don't think I'd be eating it.
No.
Yeah, but that's what I
wouldn't eat
understand
it, but then what you can do is just make a smaller separate batch for your vape pen.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. Although I have not found a vape pen that I haven't gotten a vape pen yet. So, if there's any vape pen people out there that want me to try their vape pen, you just rush it right over here, Express, and I'll be happy to put my tincture in it and tell you what I think of it. How's that?
Well, I got a vape pen for you that I just got one myself. It's called the Arizer. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
Nope.
Oh, Arizer, yeah, Arizer, they're good.
Yeah, it is an awesome vape pen, and it does dried product. It's not for extracts or anything like that.
I have a
grind
cheapy
it up
one.
and you put it in there, heat it up, and once it's heated up, there's no button to push or you just draw on it, and it gives you like a 1 session amount, and then it's like probably a quarter of a gram at a time.
Auto draw pens, yeah. We got some coming in from Vapes and Papes. Coming in from shop, yeah.
Yeah, but this Arizer one is just awesome. It's the best vape pen I've had. I mean, I've had the Volcano. I've had, what is it? I don't know. I can't remember all the brand names, but I've tried all the dry product vaporizers, and of them all, this is by far the best one.
Arizer, however you say that, I believe that's a Canadian company just south of Calgary.
Is that right?
There's a question I want to ask you guys. There's Nancy's in the chat room. She's asking if there's vitamins in cannabis, and if you bake it into a butter, would it have vitamins?
I would say no vitamins.
No, well, some vitamins are.
Well, Mr. Glamorous.
You're talking about like vitamin D or vitamin E or something.
What do you mean, Chris? Because you answered her.
Vitamin A and vitamin E,
there are vitamins.
They're both fat soluble.
There are vitamins in the plant. In the oil, I wouldn't. I don't know.
Okay.
Right, but if you were making a butter from the plant, all right, vitamin E, which is fat soluble, you would get that. Vitamin A, which is fat soluble, you'd get that.
Is chlorophyll a vitamin-ish type of thing?
No, chlorophyll's a toxic waste.
Not to the plants, it's not.
But interestingly, there's a neuroscientist by the name of Dr. Michelle Ross, and she says that cannabis oil itself should be called vitamin weed.
I agree with that. I mean, Buddha lived on one...
Vitamin, man.
Yeah.
Did you say, I'm sorry, Marcel, you said Michelle Noonan Ross?
No, just Michelle Ross.
Oh.
Dr. Michelle Ross. She's a neuroscientist. She says she eats cannabis oil on a daily basis to achieve endocannabinoid homeostasis.
We have another question in the chat room from Joe. It says, Does anyone know of any success with Lyme disease, and if so, what was it? Joe, we had...
Ask them to ask Nancy in the chat room.
Okay, talk to Nancy, but we just did a show with Dr. Ernie, I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, the tick
Yep. Dr. Ernie Murakami from Hope BC.
Yes, we just did a show with him. So if you look in our archives on Spreaker, Joe, you can also listen to that and hear what the doctor has to say. But yeah, there you go.
And
Nancy, Joe, Nancy, Hillary, Nancy, Mr. Glamorous, Ed. Hello, Ed. How are you?
Hi, Ed.
Hi, Hillary. Chrissy.
Ed's talked.
Anyways.
Hello, everybody in the chat room. I hope you're having fun this evening. You guys can have your own discussion on Lyme disease.
And I can see Joe and Mr. Glamorous and Nancy Murakami.
So if you're listening and you have a question and it's something that we don't know, we can find out.
Yeah, and so come into the chat room and challenge
know
us.
Somebody that's got it covered.
Well, yeah, if you've got a question that you don't know the answer to and you really want to know the answer to, we'll find you the answer even if somebody here doesn't know the answer, because there's always one of us on the web we can always search while the other ones are yapping. So
we'll make something up.
We'll make some up. We'll lie and shit.
I get contacted on a regular basis. Actually, it just happened the other day. Somebody was doing a story on epilepsy and cannabis. So they contacted me and asked me, who should I talk to? So I sent them exactly the best people I know that they should talk to about epilepsy and cannabis. So hopefully that'll be a good story that comes out.
So in the next, we're going to take a little break. We're going to listen to another song by Roadman. And then we're going to come back and we're going to listen to an interview that we did this afternoon.
Because of time constraints.
Because Jackie is actually in Amsterdam. And then we continue on with the show.
Yeah. You get to listen to that great interview with Jackie, and some of us will be hanging out in the chat room, so if you want to go in and scream and shout about that wonderful company, that licensed producer called Bedroom Canada, you can come on in and we'll take the brunt of it. Yep.
You can come in and say, what the fuck?
Yeah, people are going to be surprised by this interview.
And then and I tell you, if we've got a lot of people in there, if there's enough people in there that want to, actually speak on the subject, we'll be happy to stick around after that interview's done. So,
It crushed my opinion of all.
I might be home by then. I have to log off and get in my truck and drive the hell home before it gets dark because my headlights quit working.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
Do
that. Lori just ratted herself out.
How ironic. I have daytime running lights. As soon as it gets dark, they go out and the headlights do not come on.
So you know what you should do on the way home?
You should
Listen
stop
to
and get
some
a fuse checked.
Allison Mercer.
Or just buy a flashlight and hold your arm out the window.
It's in the switch, but I figured it out. See, if I put my cell phone flashlight over top of the sensor on the dash, I'll have 40% running lights on the way home if necessary.
Go now.
Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to log on when I get home.
Drive safe.
Okay, have a good night if I don't get back to you.
Okay,
and enjoy the interview with Jackie there, folks, because they're right. You're going to be shocked.
Wow. Yeah, and we're going to hang out in the chat room, and then next week is the 7th. Ellen, what's her name? Durkee, and somebody named David, I can't remember his last name, are going to one of the Cannabis Cups in California, and they're going to be joining us from there. We're going to be talking to them and doing the news, and I think Ross is going to have another segment for us, a grow segment. And
I won't be there.
Chris won't be here.
Next week. I'll be in Winnipeg.
And so that's next week. And then after that, Lori will be with us from her son's store opening. No, sorry, that's the 24th. We're at the 24th, and that's Fabian Henry from MFT, and he better fucking show up too.
It's gonna be on.
Third time's a charm.
I saw him at Lyft, and I walked up to him, and I shook his hand. I said, "You owe me a fucking interview." So, and then on the first, Lori, is Lori still here?
No.
Oh, she's gone.
She's gone. Lori will be with us from the opening of her son's store, as well as Al Graham. I'll be doing something with him during the day. He's going to one of the marches for Cannabis Day, one of the Cannabis Day marches, because that's July 1st. Canada Day, Cannabis Day.
So is that going to be another live broadcast?
That will be, yeah. Al will be, yeah, we'll do it like the GMM.
Cool.
Kind of thing. Yep. Yeah, we got a lot of cool shit coming on, and I'm going to try and talk everybody through setting stuff up so we can do live and location stuff this summer. So, I guess we're going to listen to the song, and then we're going to listen to the interview with Jackie, and we'll catch you live next week right here on the 420 Radio Show, live on lifestyleradio.net, soon to be lifestyleradio.ca. Anyways. Back in a bit. What's that? What'd you say?
I said, giddy up. Giddy up.
Giddy up. You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Welcome back. This is the 420 Radio Show, and we are here with Jackie Woerlee. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Woerlee.
Woerlee. And Jackie is calling us from Amsterdam, which I've been to. I did the whole European vacation thing when I was a kid, and I smoked my first hash doobie in a hash bar in Amsterdam in the red light district when I was about 14 years old.
Wow.
14, you're lucky.
Yeah.
They don't allow you in under 21 now. And
Really?
There's hardly any hash bars left, to be
Well,
honest.
this was an old warehouse in the middle of, I don't remember where, but in the middle of town there. And then just up the road, you could see people doing it in the windows. We're talking the 60s
doing
here.
it, actually doing it.
Well, we're talking it would have been the 60s, 70s when they had the live sex shows in the windows.
No, they've got the live show theaters, and the gay people were pretty abundant in the 80s, and everything's been sanitized away and cleaned up.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And what used to be a coffee shops or prostitute window is an alcohol serving bar now.
Really?
And they're really wondering why they have so many trouble with alcohol, you know?
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, exactly. So
I've been there since I was 12, so I didn't get to enjoy for any of those parts.
You didn't get to go out to like Europe or anything, Chris?
I didn't get to do anything cannabis related at all.
Not when he was 12.
Nope.
I always say to people they're very lucky if they got to Amsterdam before, like, say, the year 2000.
Oh, it was way before
I
that.
was there in 83.
Oh, you're lucky.
83,
Yeah,
I
saw
got
it,
to eat
and
space
it's most
cake.
free, and it is most exuberant. And the less unbothered, you know, when people were still thriving and inventing stuff, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Is that because of the new government? Do I understand correctly that this is a Christian right-wing government that you have in place right now, Jackie?
Well, we've for the last, say, 20 years, we've had various coalitions, and of course we had like the political murder here in 2000 to Pim Fortuyn, and we've had various of the same shit, basically, the same parties. And basically they've signed their commercial interests are more important to them than anything else. And
Gee, that sounds familiar.
It's a difficult thing to explain because the way the coffee shop functions, they're being allowed, so their stuff they sell suddenly turns magically green halfway in between. They buy it in black. You know, and so they make their money literally in the grey area, and both parties thrive from it. So they don't really want to change everything. So anything that will change it and make them less money, and this is how the whole Bureau of Medicinal Cannabis came to be too. I mean, they said that they had to do that because of international treaties, but no way, Jose, you know. They've been seriously violating our civilian rights ever since.
Can you enlighten us a little bit about who you are, Jackie, and what you do?
Gosh. Cannabis came on my path a long time ago because I became very ill with Crohn's disease.
Mm-hmm.
And it became very helpful. In fact, it became the only thing that kept me alive. So I became involved in activism and in finding out the truth and finding out more about it. And we organized the first cannabis tribunal here in 2008, and there was no Million Marijuana March in Amsterdam. So me and a couple of other cannabis people organized the first one again. And that grew out into Cannabis Liberation Day. But I had to take distance from all those people because of illness, and basically realizing that it's okay to be a superficial cannabis activist and to have a joint in your mouth and to look good, you know. But the moment you start speaking the truth or finding out the truth, the people don't want that to come out.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
And so us in our long juridical fight, because this is the only way, really the only way we're going to get all these people is by getting our justice through law. As you people in Canada have noticed too. It's only the judge that in the end can help you, because these people with their political games, and the commercial interest, and they've invested so much money now in it. They're not going to let like 2 crazy patients that won their court case get into the interest of them making money.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, we've been damnified and demonized, and our life has been made impossible, virtually. And it's scary. It's scary to make powerful people pissed off. Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know what to say, really.
That's kind of why we've invited you to join us to have this conversation, because I can't believe that in 2016 we're still having this conversation. We're experiencing the same kind of thing here.
We are.
With the absolute absurdity of the situation is just, I can't even, yeah. So
it gets worse here. It gets even worse here. I mean, we tried to help you by translating this piece for John Conroy, the lawyer, and out comes this like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Because we have like the Bureau, the Office of Medicinal Cannabis, which is a subdivision of our Ministry of Health. So in a way, how do I explain this? They need to sell Bedro fuck crap. They need to sell it.
Love you, Jackie.
How do I say it? They need to make money. It pays for the OMC. So, do you understand the commercial conflict of interest here? They can only exist if they sell enough. The Bedrocan needs to pay the BMC to exist. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. Same kind of, same shit.
That's unethical, though. I mean, like, to have that kind of influence put on a government agency like that. Is there not some sort of
corporations work?
Is there not an avenue in the courts that you can take, Jackie?
Well, that's what we're doing, but it's a very lengthy way. And let me first explain how this goes. They inform the Minister of Health. Subsequent ministers of health, 4 different ones now, wrongly. So all the politicians in our Congress, they think everything's going right. What? We have medicinal cannabis in the pharmacy. Doesn't it work for you? Then they lie in the official papers. So you know about dosage. I've got a prescription for more than an ounce, 30 grams. Rudolph's got a prescription for 5 grams. That ICM, their minimal dose is 3 grams. So what they've done in their statistics, if they brought down the dose to 0.2 grams, so they can up the amount of patients. So in reality, they only have about 128 patients, possibly even less. They can only produce no more than 450 kilograms a year, which is nothing. Yeah, then most of that's exported and they run out all the time. If people want Bedica here, it's unavailable. Well, I know why it's unavailable, because their growing practices are crap too. You know anything about their growing practices? My God.
Please tell us.
Please fill us in.
Please fill us in. Do enlighten us.
They grow in a closed system kind of thing. So once they close off a room, it's closed off for the whole flowering cycle. So if something goes wrong, they can't rectify it.
They never go in and check them?
No, they can't, because they and then they harvest it prematurely, and it's all these degenerated hemp crosses. So it's impossibly tall plants that grow on a hydro computer-fed system. Once they're in a particular room, they don't open anymore. So if something goes wrong in that room, like fungus, la-di-la-di-la.
They just let it go.
They lose the whole crop. Well, if they're not checking it, they're going to lose it.
Then they'll have Bedica in the pharmacy. It's a disgrace. But we found out. We did a long investigation. And when they started all this in 2002, and they replaced Rudolph's effective Marifarm cannabis with ineffective Betarocan, which is a life-endangering experiment on very ill people, too. And then the judge says, I don't understand why they did that. Yeah, but they did this to facilitate developing medication out of cannabis. So therefore, the cannabis in the pharmacy was not allowed to be effective. Because the whole cannabis, they can't make any money off. And you can see what's happening now 20 years later. They're almost there. We're getting all these cannabinoids that are split up and put together again. That's not what we need. We just need the whole cannabis. Yeah?
Right.
Proper cannabis. And it's just hardly there anymore.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. That's what we keep arguing. Whole plant medication, entourage effect, all that stuff. You can, like, synthetically take it apart and slap it back together. It will not be the same.
Why do
and
you
that's
need
what they're doing. I mean, I'm watching people advertise and think, what the fuck is this? You know, here in Amsterdam, we're like la tourist land. So all the seed companies that have their shops downtown, they already sell the degenerated, how would you call that? You know, seeds, the out of flower, the feminized.
Right.
And now they're all selling CBD strains and CBD oil, and it's so diluted. It's made from fiber hemp, so it's already not going to be broad spectrum cannabinoids. And then they dilute it so that the THC is under the 2%. And then they sell little bottles for like €40 for 40 drops.
Wow.
What?
So are people actually buying this stuff?
Wow.
Yes. And
Are they actually consuming it and buying it? And is there...
We talked about the entourage effect. You know, if people smoke weed, they're going to have THC in their bodies. You know, so it's going to work. Yes, it works a little bit. You know, if they try something of your own extraction, or they're going to go, oh, this is something different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, I mean, people come to me, I tell them the truth, but it's like mopping with the tap wide open.
Yeah.
And we tried to inform the council here 2-3 years ago about one shop that was selling the polluted industrial hemp oil from China. You know, you've seen the lab reports on that. It's full of heavy metals, and it was offered to me in Colorado for $300, and here it was supposed to be €632. And it was heavily contaminated, and they were just selling it in. They opened a shop owned by Royal Queen Seeds next door, and it was called the CBD Dispensary. So we put in complaint. The other patients' foundation put in complaint, and they shut it down in the end. But there's like 3 other shops now. What can I can't, as a sick person, go by and keep warning the health inspection and that they're selling crap.
That's the stuff that you were supposed to be scared of from the street. From getting it from these people, you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
Well, you're talking about the street. This is another. I mean, we're jumping subject. Well, it's the same subject, but a little different. If you talk about, God, they've shut down so many coffee shops, and it's all the best ones, all the nice ones. So it's and then at the same time there's like quadruple the amount of tourists. It's complete tourist overkill. The Venice syndrome is happening here in Amsterdam. But all those people, at least half of them, still want to smoke cannabis. They've got nowhere to go to anymore now. So the few coffee shops that are left are full, they're overcrowded, and the street dealers are offering hash and weed again. It's like back to the old days when there were no coffee shops, you know?
Wow. That's amazing.
That's scary.
Oh, God, so we're not the only ones going backwards then?
Oh, no, I mean, when you wrote to me about beta again still bothering you, I thought at least you had fought your right to win your freedom to at least do your own thing. You see, I've got no illusion that I can stop these powerful, influential people with loads of cash. I can't, but at least let me give me my civilian rights. And that's what they're not giving up here. That's what the real problem is. They're completely in denial, and there's one other MS patient that fought this case, and he's just keeping undercover because he just wants to be left alone. So he doesn't want to start any initiatives. Then my fellow head of the foundation, Rudolph, he got grassed. So he was forced into the whole criminal circuit. He won his case completely. So the judge said, you're allowed to grow. And then the housing corporation said, we're going to evict you.
Oh, for God's sake.
And then the mayor of Amsterdam said, Rudolph, I'm going to help you. Well, That's a lie too, because all these Bedrocan people been doing is lobbying his civil servants, because what they want to do here, they want to regulate desperately, and instead of allowing a certain freedom, they want to regulate it and that they only have council grows. Guess who's going to grow the weed in the council grows?
Oh my!
And who they're talking to. So all the truth they're getting is from the Bedrocan people and their head researcher Arno Hazekamp, who's not independent, who's a co-owner,
Oh.
and who keeps saying here that he's helping Canadian people a lot. Honestly.
Bullshit.
Yeah, helping himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I ask you a question, Jackie, about Bedrocan and the as far as what they're producing and selling through the pharmacies? Is it right that you can only buy your medicinal cannabis through a pharmacy? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Totally.
And that product that they're selling through the pharmacy is made just by Bedrocan?
Yes, they've got the sole contract, so it's a monopoly.
Okay,
So
and is this
the
product
initial-
is a milled product? Is that correct? It's they grind it up into like a.
There's 5 varieties available now. They started with one which was the Bedrocan floss, which was a bud and supposed to be of Jack Herer origin, which is instabilized sativa strain anyway. I've never liked it, and then they bring in this pharmaceutical standardization and think they're also fucking good with that, but it's not what our patients need. And in their standardization, which part of the protocol is the growing thing I described earlier, that's part of their thing, is growing it immature. So if we would have a strain like that, it would grow up to 14 weeks even into flower with us freaks, yeah? Yeah, well, they harvest it, I think, at 8-9 weeks. So you get a grossly immature sativa that's gonna. Rudolph described it as the Mike Tyson effect. It's gonna knock you out with the high THC, but it's got no CBDs to compensate for it. So it's like a afterwards. No, it's horrible.
You know, that's very telling. We had a photo going around here in Canada. I think Bedrocan tweeted it. The first crop they took off here in Canada, and every single person I know was going, "What the hell are you doing cutting so early? That doesn't even have flowers on it. Why are you harvesting that?" And then they came back and said, "Oh, well, that was all they were allowed to show us."
Well,
yeah, that was
the whole thing.
Yeah, that's how they got around it. Was they were only allowed to show us that amount.
So secretive about it and stuff. But if you follow their publications through the years, and they use the Other Patients Foundation, they're using them to publish stuff. Yeah, so they went on a visit too, and then the report that was published of it made us all like crawl, you know, because it's like I'm getting paid money to write this. But if you speak to them behind the curtains, they're showing you pictures they took secretly, you know. And then you speak to other growers, you hear the underground rumors and all what you hear. And if you're an experienced grower breeder yourself, it's no good. You know, so the government is forcing us, since Rudolph's verdict, their way, but they can't help us. They can't grow the kind of multi-spectrum weed in their protocols. The bad thing is that the owners of Bedrocan, they're selling that as a license, like a protocol, and they're making money of it. So the way they shaped it, they're selling it as a license, a way to do things.
Right.
Standardized and pharmaceutical way. Yeah.
Well, speaking of their inability to produce what it is that you require, maybe you could speak to the one issue we had conversation about previously between us. I believe some of you were able to, or that you were recompensed for your own gardening because Bedrocan can't provide a broad spectrum cannabinoid therapy for you?
This is why the MS patient won his court case. This is, but there's very few people that dare to take the road through the criminal court. And this is the only way, and there's no jurisprudence. So our lawyer is trying to collect people to get more people, but people, if you look what Rudolph is facing now, Rudolph is facing eviction from his council home. And of course, this is in the civilian court, and we can stretch this till 2020 if we want to. But what they've done in the wanting to regulate it and get it to the council grows is that they completely discourage the single person's right to grow. So they've damnified it publicly as a kind of propaganda machine. The housing corporations even sent cards around to people that they need to phone the click phone line if they smell a weed smell. So they completely discourage people growing at home and saying it's unsafe, it leads to fires and all the blah, 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 blah. So I keep telling them there's tens of thousands of people in North America that grow weed safely and all the equipment is certified. And we've already written as a foundation a whole protocol program so people can grow safely at home. You know, so they're denying that right. So they don't want people to do that. So I, as Rudolph, went to the civil servant court before, and we won. Now his pension was too high, but I'm a widow, so I'm on a very, very low income, and because I had no access to my medicine, and we were deemed Article 16 patients in a medical emergency. We would die without so we were granted access, and because I was on a low income, the Dutch council or the Amsterdam council is paying me €800 a month to grow my own cannabis now. I'm the only one in the Netherlands that's getting paid for it, and the higher civil servants didn't know about my existence, and they desperately want me to go away and die now, because I'm an embarrassment, because they're accomplice to me growing. And they have
I would like to just congratulate you, Jackie. Thank you so much for fighting for all of us like that.
16 years they've been paying for my grow. First €350, then I won my High Court case, €500, and then I had it heightened, so they pay for my oil too now. Yeah,
Awesome.
but they hate me. They
nice.
hate me for it.
Congratulations.
Yes, but they're happy for you.
That
Other
is awesome.
people are, instead of happy for you, they're envious and jealous because you achieved that. So I say to people, well, why don't you go through the courts and go through the same hellish fucking way I went? But they don't. Yeah?
They don't, and it's like here too, people plead guilty.
Yeah, well, if these people we're fighting against, if they only got a few very ill patients that should have been dead a long time ago anyway, then they think, well, they're just going to go away. But we didn't go away. So every time, like, somebody wins their criminal court case and they're allowed to grow cannabis, because you see, the Bureau of Medicinal Cannabis, the subdivision of the Ministry of Health, supposed to give out licenses, but they only do it to companies. So there's only Bedrocan, and then there's Marifarm that still has the license for research. Yeah, but
now you said Marifarm, they're the ones that Rudolph was getting the medicine from before they switched him up to Bedrocan?
Yes, before the BMC ever was erected, and before Bedrocan ever existed, from 1995 till September 2003. He got Marifarm gedoogd, just like the coffee shop system allowed from Marifarm, €5 a gram. And it was an indica strain, and for him it worked perfectly, because unlike me, he wasn't the apt gardener, and also very ill. So for him that worked. So they literally replaced his working medicine with one that didn't work. And that's to this day, it's like, how can you experiment over very sick people like that? Yeah. Why? Because there's companies that were erected in the Netherlands, like a company called Echo Pharmaceuticals, and they're developing medicines out of cannabis. So they've made a receptor molecule that allows cannabis to be taken into your body easier. Yeah, you know, it's only alcohol and fat soluble, that talk. And they patented it, and they get subsidized like 45 million for research, you know. So it's all about subsidies.
Wow.
That's disgusting.
Big amounts of money. And then the BMC, the lady that came and talked at the Neil Alla trial from the BMC, I think it was Heuner Snoeken or it was Sandfors, you know, she's painting a story like everything is very well arranged in the Netherlands and that all the patients here are happy. But it's not, because when the changeover took place and they took Marifarm away and only had Bedrocan, their thought line was to create a monopoly. Yeah. And all those patients, because there was 5,000 patients with another patient foundation, they went underground. There was a foundation in Rotterdam that sent by mail 5,000 patients gone. And they gave him a coffee shop license so he could become like a takeaway counter for local patients in Rotterdam. And in essence, it was a coffee shop license, and it was like, you accept this, because otherwise we make you bankrupt too. Like they did to James Burton, the other grower that was around at the beginning. At one research, it showed that the Sim variety that he was growing that was sold in the pharmacy when the whole BMC started. And if you look at the initiative from the minister, it was like there was supposed to be as much variety to the patients as possible. And the Sim had a 69% market share. So that was being sold more than the Bedrocan floss in the beginning. So he had to go. So he went publicly to a TV program, and they killed him. To this day, he is scared. Yeah, they bankrupted him. James Burton, read his story. It's unbelievable what they did to him. So yeah, we as two patients, we're pretty scared because we made some.
It's amazing what we have to do to fight for the right to live with dignity, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have a lot of people doing that here, going through the fight.
But here they're literally saying that people that grow cannabis, they're criminals, they bother their neighbors, they're causing hazardous, dangerous situations. Yeah. And that's all not true. I've been growing cannabis for 20 years inside. Yeah? It's, yeah.
Well,
Health Canada sent us a letter all tell us that's what we were, was criminals, and we were a danger to the neighborhood, and
yeah.
That's why they were coming to get us.
And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to enter that conversation, okay, Chris? So don't forget. Don't forget where we were. I'm leaving that on you, Chris.
Okay, time for that.
This is the 420 Radio Show. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're chatting with Jackie, and we're going to listen to, I thought it was fitting that we listen to some Sensi Rock. Do you know who that is, Jackie?
No.
No, Sensi Rock is a young man that is from Amsterdam, and he sent me his music a few years ago, and I've been listening to it. It's really, really good. I hope you like it, and we'll be right back in a couple minutes.
This is Bubbles from the trailer park, and they're playing some fucking excellent music on lifestyleradio.ca. I hope I didn't sound too nervous there.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Oh yes, me roll it. Me not care what you say, strictly herb it and me brain. Yes, me love the cannabis, yeah. Me name a Senserac, yeah. Me always have marijuana. Oh yes, me roll it. Me not care what you say, strictly herb it and me brain. Roll up your ganja spray. Roll up your ganja spray. So you can pass me the whistle, pass me the whistle. I wanna be less spliff. If you have the ganja, can't smoke with anyone to beg everything. You got something for yourself. Smoke ganja hard. You got with the Lord. Oh yes, me roll it. Me not care what you say, strictly herb it and me brain. Yes, me love the cannabis, yeah. Me name a Senserac, yeah. Me always have marijuana. Oh yes, me roll it. Me not care what you say, strictly herb it and me brain. Roll up your ganja spray. Roll up your ganja spray. Alright, you never see me beg you feel no like that. No rolling paper, no ganja. Me own things always there. In a me backyard, me grow a big cali tree. As soon She a go ready, me a go smoke her nice and steady. So now the herbs come around.
No.
Me a fair rising in the morning, me a go pick up from the ground. That's my where this came from. Sincere coffee, me name and me marijuana of me floral. Oh yes, me roll it. Me not care what you say, strictly herb it on me brain. Yes, me love me cannabis, yeah. Me name a sincere, yeah. Me always have Mary's life. Oh yes, me roll it. Me not care what you say, strictly herb it on me brain. Roll up your ganja split. Roll, I know. Roll up your ganja split.
Herb is the healing of the nation, yes. I got to smoke my ganja weed, yes. And then now smoke the seed. Neither we gonna kill the weed, no.
Roll up your split now. Oh, me love me sensamina.
So you must get up left
marijuana. Whoa, yeah. Roll up your ganja split.
Roll up your ganja split.
Ganja split.
Roll up your ganja weed.
Yeah. Roll up your ganja split.
Smoke ganja till your head red.
Roll up your ganja split.
I grade going to a grave.
Roll up your ganja split.
Yeah, man. Sense Rock and Silver Walkers in the studio, live and direct.
No.
Jam Rock and Silver Walker, and the big man is from there. Wow.
The National Task Force on Medicinal Cannabis is a group of not-for-profit organizations dedicated to influencing government policy with factual evidence. Our mission is to ensure that a constitutional medical program is developed that will address the concerns of all Canadians that require therapeutic cannabis. The task force is looking for dedicated people who are willing to contribute to our cause. We have formed this task force to foster a unified approach and focus on lobbying the federal government and Health Canada. We represent the combined expertise of thousands of patients with more than a decade of experience. As a task force participant, you, your business, or your group will have an opportunity to show that you care and offer your unique skills to promote the cause. If you would like to get involved, go to medcanataskforce.org. That's medcanataskforce.org and use the Contact Us link to get started. Help us help you.
Hey, Lori?
Yeah.
You gotta help us help you.
I was gonna do it just like that too.
Help us help you. I wish somebody would help us help them.
Yeah,
you know.
Amen.
Can I just say that?
That would be nice, wouldn't it, Lori?
Help us. Somebody help us.
We're getting kind of tired. You know, those of us who are sick and ill and on pensions and have no form of income other than that, we would really appreciate some assistance from those of you making money from other people like us.
Yeah.
To support your ability to continue making money from other people like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And I have solicited many businesses that I deal with for funds to support us, and have probably had about a 10 to 20% response rate. Most of them just ignored my request. Well, that's sad.
Help us help you. And
I think you should first help yourself.
That's true.
Help us
and
help
we've done
ourselves.
that. Jackie, we've done that through the courts, and we have two court decisions right now that are supporting us as patients, and that's where we're at right now. We're in the middle of in a regulatory writing process for medicinal cannabis, and that is going to be announced for us on August 24th, and we're all looking forward to that. Those regulations, and we're hoping they're going to meet everybody's needs, because the court has ordered the government to provide access, like reasonable access to medicinal cannabis, including growing your own. So we're really looking forward to that.
just like I say, the only way you can find justice is through the juridical courts. It's just that I'm so happy that all those other patients in Canada were able to hook on to the New Alert case. Yes? Everyone together. Here it's like everyone for themselves, no jurisprudence.
Is there no way you can get people together to do what we did and to challenge it in the highest court of your land?
No. That's what my lawyer is trying to collect people now, and she is collecting some people, but there's very few that are daring to go the whole way. As I said, people, they literally, when you report yourself for, I've done the civilian court completely to the highest court. I won it the whole way. But they could still, despite me getting paid for by the government, the police could still knock on my door here. Especially if a neighbor would phone up saying that they're being bothered. But I have never bothered anyone. But if I would report myself to go to the criminal court, they will come and have a look anyway.
Have they ever come in?
When they come and have a look, they report you to your landlord.
Have anybody actually, do you have inspectors that come in? Like, have you ever had anybody come in?
It's just the cops with like the help DA.
Okay, so they do come in and inspect there.
Yeah.
Because
So with Rudolph, they inspected and they found his proper growing tent. They found all the electricities in order. So at his court case, there was no border, there was no dangerous situation.
Yeah.
But they still call it highly undesirable for people to grow their own cannabis, but in his case, because he's already an Article 16 patient, there was no other way.
I remember a few years ago.
There is no proper cannabis available in. So the judges and everyone, and then the DA is going, why is the cannabis? Because everyone thinks it's well arranged. Why is this? Everyone thinks it's good, And then they bring out reports too. I've got to say, there's 5 varieties now, and 3 of them, they call them granulates. Well, I don't know if you've seen our test films we made as a foundation. Now we have very little money. We're just 2 sick people with no backup, but we made, with some help, we made 3 test films a couple of years ago. And boy, are they angry about that too. They call it like amateurish and unprofessional, but we actually tested the way patients tested, and then our friend tested it the old-fashioned print way. And you could just see there's this strange stuff going on, and I just wish I was able to send their stuff to a proper laboratory there, so I could really find out what's going on.
Send some to Marcel. He'll test it for you.
No, he won't.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
License away. They will take his license away.
Why would they take his license away?
Because you have to play the game. That's not playing the game.
I play a lot of games.
Now,
I'm good at playing games.
They're asking us for samples of our weed now, so they can test and so they can perhaps grow the cannabis that's right for Rudolph, which of course they're totally not capable of. Yeah, and they don't want to. And they don't understand, they've not been listening, I grow 50 different strains, I need a constant variety. They can't offer that. They can't offer it grown on organic soil. So what they're trying to say is that if you grow organically yourself, that you're going to have all these bacteria and dangerous organisms that are dangerous to your health if you're a sick person. What a lot of bullshit. Yeah. If you're capable, there's nothing better than just to grow your own cannabis and keep it in your own hands. And for the people that are not capable, collectives are the best way. But this is
the therapeutic value of gardening is just, you cannot overstate that, can you?
No.
How are you going to try and sell organic gardening as unhealthy? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Exactly.
Well, because they say you're exposed to extra bacteria and fungi, so that's why they grow in a closed computerized system 8 weeks with no one interfering. So if the botrytis starts, nothing can stop it.
Yeah, see, that's
the other thing with
stupid
the
logic there.
It sure is, yeah.
Epically dumb.
If you look at our test films and you look how the granulate look, you know how your own cannabis looks when you grind it up and it's full of crystals? They take all the crystals off because they standardize it, so it's got to be the same every time. So they extra here, they sieve the crystals of it.
So that's what I said once, and somebody told me I was crazy.
They sift.
I heard that some of the LPs are doing that here. They're actually sifting off some of the trichomes and then selling the bud, and then using those trichomes to make oil.
They've been dusting for years, dude. They've been dusting that stuff for years. What do you think they have tumblers for?
You know, we've got like the Mila here that made all the machines. That's how they started. First with the pollinator machine. This is like a little tumble dryer. Then the water hash extraction. You know, the moment those machines started to be made very big, all the coffee shop owners went, aha!
One of the machines we saw at the expo, at the Lift Expo, was a trim machine where you literally, it has a belt that feeds it in as it goes, and it just knocks it around. And there's a bucket underneath it to catch all the crystal that falls. And that's exactly what it's for. As it's trimming, it knocks all the dust off. They collect that dust. They make, with their trim, they go and they make their oils and stuff.
Yeah, but not only that, the finished product, the buds, they still take crystals of it. And here in the coffee shops, you notice that when the baggie you get it in is not so sticky.
Well, yeah. Well, they do it wet. They put them in the trimmers, damp.
Yeah, that's
and then when the buds are dried, then they do it again.
That's not how Beta-Organ does it. Beta-Organ, if you look at what the footage they brought out, they do it. They dry the whole plant and then they trim it. Completely sterile.
They trim it, or they just grind it all down.
I find one of the worst things is that the 3 granulates they have now, that they say that they make it easier for patients so they don't have to grind it themselves. So people with neuropathy that they can't use their hands properly, they make it easier for.
Well, that's what they have vaporizers for.
Severe neuropathy, and he says, I don't want that granulate. I can grind it.
Yeah, that's what they call it, volcano ready over here sometimes.
Yeah, we have electric grinders here where you just easily push a little button and it grinds it for you.
Yeah, it's called a coffee grinder, Russ.
Yeah, basically with a marijuana leaf on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, cannabis leaf.
Sorry.
Excuse my language.
Yeah, go slap yourself.
Have you
those herb grinders are awesome. I'm on my second one in 8 years.
The Volcano is just about the worst vaporizer there is, and very early in their existence, they had a sponsorship with the Volcano. And I find, if you think about it, in a fucking plastic bag and you're inhaling stale smoke. Do you know the Verdamper, the Dutch glass machine that was made after the model of Eco Bill?
Yep.
You know, the crazy Dutch guy, Evert, and his,
I know who he is. Yeah.
His sidekick, Hans, that's a little brighter. That's the best vaporizer we've had for over 20 years now in the Netherlands. So the head researcher from Beta-Organ started the sidekick too. He's making his own vaporizer because he's saying the Dutch patients don't have a good vaporizer yet, but we have. So they're lying about that too.
The damper.
They're misusing public funds to develop a vaporizer we don't need, and it's the same with the Volcano. You know, it's a crap fucking thing, and they keep pushing it. It's horrible.
I've used one before, and they're all right, but for me, that's more of a party thing, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, like a multiple person use.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's for a session thing. It's not really like, I don't know about you, but I couldn't myself suck back a whole bag of that thing before it was stale. There's no way.
It's still party or medicinal. Even when you're doing recreational, you want nice fresh vapor.
See, I use a vapor tower
with the water that cools through, like you get fresh all the time and you get the nice flavor.
I use a vapor tower, and it's just a puck.
In all their research, flavor is not important to these people. They say it's not medicinal. That's not important.
What, flavors only for recreational? I have a vapor tower that I use here, and it's just got you put a little puck in there in the chamber, and it just heats. You suck the air in, it superheats it through a coil. It's very simpler. There's not even there's a dial, but there's no meter on it or anything like that, and it works. I've had it for 6 years.
No, I can't believe how far these people will go. So that they team up with the Volcano, then they convince a bunch of local politicians in the local province here in the Netherlands that it's a sound business model, probably after many expensive dinners at high-class restaurants. And now $1.5 million of public money, tax money, is being funded in this Spiro scam. you know. And it's a vaporizer we don't need, because we already have the Verdamper vaporizer. That's just it can't be bettered upon, you know. It's really, yeah. So it's endless, and I can't stop all these business plans, but I at least want people to know the truth. But it's like most people don't care. And then there's a lot of people that don't even understand it, and then they say cannabis is a very specialistic subject. You know, people just don't understand it. So all this knowledge we talked about, they want to keep to themselves. It's the same with feminized seeds. You know, they don't want people to breed themselves and get 5,000 seeds in one go they can share with their friends for free. You know, they don't want that.
It's not profitable.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Jackie, have you heard about what's happened with Bedrocan over here and how they've been bought out by a company called Tweed, whose parent company is Canopy Growth? Are they involved over there at all with Bedrocan?
No. It's I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we visited them once, and it was just the worst visit ever. You know, and I don't know that they very much act like they're completely the whipping boy of the Bureau of Medicinal Cannabis, and that they can't do anything without. So all they're doing is this business stuff, selling licenses and their protocols.
Yeah.
So
well, let me ask you another question.
They're selling like legal cannabis as a business model, and that's why they don't need too difficult patients saying, "Hey, but it doesn't work." You know,
yeah, and that's what we've had for the last 2 years here, and that has been struck down by the Supreme Court as being unconstitutional. Yes. So, were you aware that in 2014 that Bedrocan in Holland was given the first import license to import finished cannabis products into Canada? And what I heard they did was that they had virtual huge amounts of milled product sitting in pharmacies in the Netherlands that just wasn't being sold, and they loaded it all up into sea containers and shipped it over here to Canada to be sold to medicinal patients here. Did you know about that?
No,
I remember that
because
story.
we'd rather see another story here that only can produce limited amounts of cannabis here, and there's already so much demand through you that they can't even produce what's asked for, as far as we can calculate.
So in 2014, where would this overage have come from? Where did these container loads of cannabis,
where did it come from? Because I need to hear more about the story, because they can't produce that much.
What I remember having heard about it was the cannabis was so bad that nobody in Holland would smoke it, and they shipped it over to here for us for the medical program.
Yeah, exactly what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for months, Bedrocan had no product coming off here until, probably a year after they started selling.
Yep, that's exactly right, and I think that's how long it took. Well, you know, they introduced it with that product that came in from Holland, and that sort of they figured would buy them time till they could get it set up to grow. And the next thing you know, Tweed buys them, and they become something known as Canopy Growth, and now they've got $100 million in the bank in investor money, and they've sold, you know, maybe $5 million worth of cannabis, and somehow they've got $100 million in the bank. And the same thing about as far as the corporate interests go, and the, you know, the whining and the dining that these corporate interests are doing in lobbying the government and really creating an unlevel playing field for people like us, the real patients who are on fixed incomes. We can't afford to fight that.
You say it so well. You almost bring me to tears. You know that? How can I fight that? I'm trying to fight it, but as I said at the beginning of this talk,
it's a fixed fight.
Hundreds of millions. They're not going to have a few crazy patients, as they say, interfere with that.
No, it's a fixed fight. How do you win a fixed fight, right?
Yeah, when it's stacked against you, you know, you're a lightweight going up against a heavyweight. You're going to get the shit kicked out of you. Okay, that's just the way it is.
The only way it's going to happen is everybody that uses or supports people that use, or whatever the case, anybody that's in support of cannabis needs to stand up together.
But the thing is that this is what's not happening, and this is why I've been ostracized by the cannabis community, because they have money invested in it. Think about it.
It doesn't happen everywhere here. I mean, you see.
Think about where Bedrocan comes from. Where does Bedrocan come from? Go right back to the beginning. Where did they come from? Where did they start from? They started with Sensi money, Sensi Hemflex, Bedro, Ben Dronkers. Yeah. That's how they first met. You know, they know each other from a long time ago. So there's vested interest in it, and they don't care. They know the larger population are not going to understand what's being played. They just want medicinal cannabis to be known as medicinal cannabis, and they will supply you with the medicinal cannabis they think is suitable, you know? So they can make money. But they can't make money of us growing our own proper cannabis that works properly.
No.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to highlight, too, when you were talking about the interference between corporate and governmental regulatory systems and so on.
But there's cannabis companies involved, too. Big seed companies, Dutch Passion, they're all involved in this.
Yes, well, I don't know if you're familiar, but here in Canada, the first company to get a license was Tweed. And their CEO at that time was also the CFO of the Canadian Liberal Party, who is now in power.
And still is the CFO for the Liberal Party right now.
He took the money and run from he took the money and run from the cannabis business, but he's still the CFO of the ruling Liberal Party here.
But it's conflict of interest. You know?
Clearly, yes.
It's unethical is what it is. It's about ethics, and when you start seeing these unethical corporate actions taking place, it's galling. And I thank goodness that as poor patients, we have some lawyers that are willing to put themselves out there. And I mean, we all contributed. You know, I had a box sitting on the counter in my store where people put, $2 and $1 and maybe a $5 bill at a time. And we raised enough money to hire a lawyer to fight for us. And I think that's what you guys should consider doing in Holland is getting somehow, every dollar, every euro helps. Okay, and every euro that you can contribute, if you can, to hire a lawyer to get yourselves collectively into the courts and stop this individual
thing. Everything for free, and she's willing to do other patients for free. Do everything pro dio. Everything here is pro dio, but the way you organize, you've got more people there. We're just a small country, and then the other patients foundation, they're never going to want to go that far.
You know what I find. You know what?
They're getting paid for by the industry. So they're getting money to exist from the industry. They're getting money from Bedrocan. They're getting money from cannabis industry. So they don't want to go the full way. They just want to be superficial activists. And so it's literally only we're whistleblowers. That's what we are, Rudolph and I. And they never thought there were two people that were academically enough. Understanding the matter, nobody wants to read all those big reports.
Everybody wants to get seeds from Amsterdam, but nobody wants to help in Amsterdam, kind of thing, right?
You were asking earlier too. I mean, I'm looking for that one big philanthropist with a big heart. Yeah. That's gonna give us some money so we can actually do what you mentioned earlier. Because I do want to, but then I do have days, months that I just survive. I mean, I should not be alive.
A lot of my grower friends here in Canada, okay, thrive off of products that come out of Amsterdam and Holland, okay, and yet when I hear you talking about the troubles that you're having as a patient.
It seems absurd, eh?
It's more than absurd. It's exactly what we're going to end up doing here.
Well, I mean, when Laurie, when you told me that you're still having trouble with Bedrocan, I thought, like, fuck, man, you won the court case. At least, like, people that have individual rights and licenses, they're going to leave you alone now. But apparently not.
No. Nope, they are not. They are attacking full force right now.
Yeah, they had, I don't know if you heard that they had dispensary raids in Toronto here not long ago.
Yes, well, we were wondering about what's the story of that, because we hear like they're presenting Trudeau as the next big alternative great fucking thing. But that was surely disappointing. But surely that's probably got to do with their governmental contacts with the Netherlands saying, oh, everything is good here, just keep that. They've bought that model. Somehow they made a deal, it seems. So they want to push that model in. They don't want 40,000 people to grow their own cannabis. They want you as a customer. Yeah.
Jackie, any sense of what public opinion in Holland is? Like, what does the general public say about medicinal cannabis? Is there support in the public?
Not by the larger public, by and large, at all. The media, the propaganda is turning into a shit show. You're just a loser when you're associated with cannabis here. So the strong discouragement for young people to ever get involved and make it sound like worse than alcohol, when the real problems they're really having is with alcohol. I mean, emergency rooms are overflowing here with teenage overdoses on alcohol. Can you imagine? Thousands and thousands of people. Instead of being able to treat sick people, they've got people that are like drunk out of their fucking minds because there's so many places where you can buy alcohol, and it's all about alcohol relaxation now. And when you go to a coffee shop and use cannabis, you're a loser. You're a loser. And then they make the smell. I said to the civil servant we talked to, I said, well, they've classified it as like a degree less as cadaver smell, and I meant that ironic. And she goes, oh yes, it's just terrible what it does to people. And I went, oh my God. Because even people, if you have a get-together here and you're doing a few bong hits, even the smell of that might alert your neighbor. You might get a knock on the door from the police because they smell weed.
Well, that's what I was wondering when you were talking about the number of actual patients in Holland who access the program. I was wondering, it seemed like a very small number, and I started wondering if maybe
that's
because...
why they have to up it.
Sorry?
The official numbers are small. But
yeah.
The real numbers, as I said earlier, are even smaller, because the official numbers is 1,400 or something people. But that's based on 0.2 grams, so that can never be true. Nobody uses. That's a homeopathic dose. Nobody uses. So if you calculate it on 3 grams, which is also nothing, because I'm on a 30-gram prescription, they only have a few patients. Yeah, it really doesn't work for most people. And it's
your
also
prescription of 30 grams, is that 30 grams per day?
Would sell their products.
Jackie, your prescription of 30 grams, is that 30 grams per day?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so you have the same size prescription that I have.
What?
You have the same size prescription that I have.
No. I started in 1996 on 10 grams, and then it went up to 15 grams, and then when I started making my own extraction, it went up to 30 grams.
Right. Marcel has 30 grams.
I'm licensed for 30 grams a day.
Yeah.
So if you calculate it on that, they cannot have a lot of patients, really. And then if you look at the dosage, like this stupid, dumb vaporizer machine they're developing, they're like little blocks with that granulate in it. It's like, man, you're not even going to feel anything.
Yeah.
If I roll a joint, it's got 2 grams in it. But I've got to say, with the price...
You roll big joints.
Yeah, really.
50 euro joints. It's insane. Nobody smokes pure here. Very few people smoke pure. It's all tobacco. So instead of teaching people how to smoke properly, it's all like discouragement and just go ahead and put tobacco in it.
One of the big myths about these big blunts that you see people walking around with and stuff like that, and they're showing off these big fucking honking doobies, they're mostly tobacco. People don't realize that. A lot of people that roll those big fucking ass doobs roll mixed.
With tobacco?
Yeah.
Of course they do.
But not mine, huh? Not mine.
I don't know. I rolled some big ones. I don't put tobacco in nothing.
Oh, I'm talking the kids, obviously, but it's a lot of it's show.
It's so uncommon here now. It's so uncommon.
Is it?
So when I sit outside my Katsu coffee shop and I sit outside there, sometimes I post pictures of that. People go, "What the fuck? Is that real?"
I've seen you do that. Yeah. a picture of Jackie sitting at a cafe with her joint, and it's like, yeah, I would assume that that's normal there.
They've got so much more police on the streets, and last year I got into trouble with a couple of people on the ferry here between the two city parts behind the station, and I've smoked joints on that for 30 years, and now I wasn't allowed. I showed a guy my prescription. He wraps it out of my hand just to write down my address, and a few months later I get if I want to pay a €90 fine. Now I had my lawyer take it to the DA, and it was thrown out of court, of course. But that's what the sight of a joint and the smell, and you're causing bother to people. That's what they're saying.
I just saw an article this morning, Jackie, that out of BC, a young man was on a ferry and was told by a security officer that he could not smoke cannabis in the smoking area.
Yeah.
Because it's BC Ferries policy. They have a zero cannabis policy. But yet they allow smokers on the ferry. And yet in Canada you can't even smoke in a restaurant, but you can smoke in the fucking ferry.
But why does it be a medication? Because I carry my prescription, and I also carry a letter from my doctor now that within reason I should be allowed to medicate wherever I need to, because it is my and it's an official doctor's letter, so they can't fuck with that, really. So if they do, like they did with me last year, I had it thrown out of court. That's only because I have a lawyer behind me, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to have my personal life thing into it. But because I'm getting weaker and more fragile, I'm getting scared.
We shouldn't be afraid to want to get better. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Jackie, I've been looking at this website that you are involved with called is it ncod.org?
No, I used to be part of NCOD, but I've not been a member of NCOD for the last 6 years because I pulled everything to the BSEMC. But NCOD was for the whole European reform of all drug laws, really.
Right.
So I had to really pull it more to patients-only medical Netherlands, because otherwise I would have gone insane. But I really have to have a quick word for the main guy, he passed away a little while ago, suddenly of a heart attack, and he was just one of the most wonderful guys. He always all that strife and how people fight. He used to be like the mediator, the glue.
The glue.
And he died way too young. Joep Omen. Yeah. Sad. Yeah.
So can you tell folks where they can find you in Amsterdam if they want to look you up, if they need some help, they want some guidance?
Well, I have to say I'm very ill, so I've got to pick my moments, so I can't be overwhelmed, but you can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
And then there is our foundation website to bsemc.nl.
Okay.
It's largely in Dutch, and we also have a Facebook page on that, but we don't have like a whole office of people that are continuously updating that. So
yeah, neither do we.
You guys are faring much better at that than we are, I really have to say. And also I've got to say we have a life, and then this has been like the month that I've been planting out all the plants, so it's currently more important to me, and Laurie understands that. It's just plants.
Oh yes, plant. I love my plants.
And I've got all these locations for outside, but they're all over Amsterdam, so it's...
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
You said you have 50 strains, like 50 or 15?
Yes, yeah. We keep like a live library in alive. Yeah.
Excellent.
Wow.
That is
we
very
do the
cool.
same in Colorado with my partner there. Yeah. My partner lives there, but I'm still here in Amsterdam trying to...
You were in Colorado for a while, right?
Well, I don't live there. I move backwards and forwards between. So I spend time there because I still have to fight the fight here, and I need my medical insurance here too. So I spend time there. Yeah. But my partner lives there, so we keep the same garden there.
Do you find the, the environment there much friendlier than at home now?
Yes, because they recognize your civilian rights. So although you don't get the prescription, I have a full medical recommendation, and my partner is my caregiver.
So
want that system here.
Did your license carry over? Were you ever able to do that?
Well, no, that's just for Colorado and just for the time. Every time I'm there,
Okay.
I need to go to the doctor and get that there, and then it's just valid for 3 months.
So you don't need a license to grow in the Netherlands?
No, well, they don't. The BMC, the Bureau the Office of Medicinal Cannabis, the subdivision of the Minister of Health, supposed to give out licenses, but in effect only does that for companies. And then the initial request is already €2,500, so it's only for companies, and they don't want people to get singular. That's what we've been asking for, and they've not been giving it to us. So the mayor said he would help Rudolph, but he's pointing back to the BMC now, which is like sending you back to the people that have been torturing you for the last 16 years, you know?
So
Because all they are, and all they've traveled to Canada for, is to sell their shit product. They're saying, it's legal cannabis. This is your model. This is how you have to work. This is you get the license, you pay for it, and then you can do it the way we do. So it's a Dutch thing. The Dutch have always been merchants. We've had opium monopolies. We've had cocaine monopolies. There used to be a cocaine factory here in Amsterdam that supplied cocaine to the rest of the world to get the armies going. I couldn't believe it. There's a documentary called The Coke Factory, the Coke Fabriek, and it tells you all about that. Because before the days of amphetamine, that's how they kept their armies edgy. You understand?
Wow. Yeah, that'd keep you on edge.
So the Dutch are very accustomed to setting up models like this. So they've done the same with cannabis. And they're facilitating the pharmaceutical industry who want to make money of medicines made out of cannabis. And then if you look at like the whole evaluation reports, the people that are at the bottom of the list as the people that are interested parties are the patients and the doctors. Okay? So,
gee, that sounds really familiar. The patients end up being on the bottom of every list here too.
Yeah. Everything you're saying, Jackie, sounds so familiar to us. Like it's the same thing is happening here. The corporate interests are just, winning. Well, they're not winning out, and it's only because of the courts that they're not. If they had their way, it would be just like it is in Holland right now, here.
Yes. Yes, and it's a nightmare because it's forced patients on the ground, and patients are scared to grow their own weed, and patients get treated like criminals and rolled up by the police. And your plants get taken away from you, and I have a Jewish bone. It reminds me of the beginning of the prosecutions. Then it scares me to no end. Yeah, I'm terrified. So I'm supposed to go to the criminal court next. What they've done to Rudolph?
Is this your Is that your next step? Is to the courts? Yes.
Yes, and I'm terrified.
I don't blame you.
I'm extremely courageous because if I'm the third patient, then all the politicians are really going to go like what? But they're acting in public like they're going to help us, but in reality they're abandoning us. They're abandoning us because when they get talked to by those fuckers from the BMC, there's nothing wrong, They're just a couple of bothersome, difficult patients that are just screaming like they're crazy. Don't listen to them. It's not right. Our thing is the only right way, and they believe it.
How many medical cannabis patients are in Amsterdam, in Netherlands? Do you
I
know?
don't know. I don't have any because everyone's underground.
Well, that's what I was thinking. So basically, people are. I have to say, in the last 5 years, I've never been more sorry that I actually signed up for the program here. I would have been happier to just keep on doing what I am doing without telling anybody about it.
Exactly my sentiment. Exactly. This is why I've been doing it. I've been faring well, and I realize why. Because they don't want me to exist, so they just let me be. Because they don't want everyone to know about it, and it goes that far that the general media here, like the important papers and the important talk shows on TV, they all have direct phone lines to important ministers and politicians in our Congress, and they basically get told, well, if you give any more attention to this story, then you're not going to get your direct phone line to me anymore. Like that. So it's a century. I sometimes write to. I wrote a letter the other day. Would you believe a professor published a study here last week that said that the council should be allowed to go into regulated growth of cannabis because of human rights. Now, when you read it, initially you think, they're finally respecting my human rights. But you know what human rights they're talking about? The human rights of people that live next door to dangerous grows.
Oh my. See, the dangerous thing, that's the thing that I think we kind of quashed that in the courts because there was no actual evidence of any issues.
And this happens in our courts too, exactly the same.
Well, I have to say, one of our other hosts, Marcel, I quote him, I don't know how many times, because we grow outdoors. I remember one day he said, if my garden's on fire, the town has a lot bigger problem than my cannabis.
Man, look at like the fracking is making the rivers on fire. Come on.
Oh, I'm so glad that you were able to join us today, Jackie. Thank you very much, and I guess we're going to have to wrap it up for now. And
we'll definitely have you on again. We'll figure out this time zone thing.
Yeah, the time zone was a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, we're definitely going to have you join us again. You've been an excellent, so amusing guest, I have to say.
Well, I don't know. It's a dire subject. I'd rather talk about gardens, weed strains, how to do it, and that's much
what
nicer,
we want. Yep, that's
much
awesome.
nicer to be into that cannabis culture.
Yeah, let's get you talking about strains next time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the good stuff next time.
Yeah.
What's in a name?
Exactly.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
And
very funny.
On that note, thank you very much for joining us, Jackie.
Thank you.
And this is the 420 Radio Show.
You
we
keep
are
up
here.
The fight too.
Thank you. We're here every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time at lifestyleradio.ca, soon to be 420radio.ca. I guess that's it. We will be back next week. I got another song here from a band called Roadman, and it's called Hell or High Water. And good night, guys.
I think that's the spirit of this. Hell or high water.
There you
we
go.
will be here.
There you go.
Thank you all.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.
There's a mystery in the way she moves, and her eyes tell me what I need to know. My mind is shallow for a line to use, but my faith draws me on, and so as I stumble out across the room, say, little miss, can I get your name? I can't help myself, gonna burn me up like I'm all into the thing. Alright, yeah. In the city, all the criminals are on the loose. Can't apologize for the way I hang up with a hangman hands. The lights will shift us away in the distance. We'll let the players take the field. If we hold our feet into this fire, maybe we'll find our love is real. I said,
like music, you like weed. Well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is